Ascension Messages. My name is Bobbie Richardson. I'll be your guide for today. I've been called today to really go over and talk about my own stories of how Spirit led me to clear my mind and be able to connect with my intuition again. And the reason for this is because at the moment, with all of the intense energies, we really do need to do this so that we can have a clear path of where we know where we're going, and what our next steps are by listening to our soul. And the soul can only be felt through our intuition and our heart. So I'm really been pulled to do this. I'm an intuitive counselor, by the way. So if you need a reading or anything like that, you just go on my website, www.codestoanew-reality.com, and click on the intuitive counseling session. I have some products, fortune dice that I've created, and books that I've led for children for their to gain their imaginational skills, or keep their imaginational skills rather. There's two books for that. So that's quickly on that. And also very briefly, before I really launch into the story, this is probably going to be a bit of a longer video because the story is pretty full on, and there's a lot to it, how Spirit actually guided me. But yeah, I'm starting up a mantra this Saturday and leading that, and I have created a beautiful video for everybody to come together, and all we're doing is everybody's in the same boat. We're just sending out as much of our heart and our love out to the world so that, you know, we can start shifting this vibration on earth and back into creating the life that we really desire. Yeah, so that's an Om Shanti Om mantra, very simple. If you want to be part of that, I would love you to be part of that. Just go to my page, and there will be a events page for the mantra. It's a solar eclipse mantra. Or on my YouTube, it'll be under my community page panel. And I'm going to be putting the Zoom link up soon so that everybody can just click on that Zoom link and come in. It's going to be held December the 4th, 12 noon AEST time. So that's Australian time on the east side, Queensland time. Namaste. So I'm going to have to wear my glasses. I thought I could do this without wearing my glasses because I'm not reading anything. This is all from my imagination, from my memory. But I really need to read you guys' messages. So glasses go back on again. Good morning, Matthew. So good to see you. Australian. And Sasha. Yay, Lopez. Okay, so that's cool. We've got one from YouTube and one from Facebook. Nice, because this has been restreamed to both. My mum's birthday, 4th of December. No way. How cool is that? I love those synchronicities. That's so much fun. That's saying something. That's beautiful. So yeah, I felt that date was really important because there was a beautiful Elder Max who was putting a message out. I was just asking for what date do we do this on, and this beautiful Elder Max, he was putting this message out to the world for everybody to come together to do exactly what I had already been told by Spirit to do. So how perfect was that? So December the 4th it is. Must be a really important day energetically, and if I really tap into the solar flare, they showed me the moon going across the sun. So it's like we've gone through the shadow, but then when the sun comes out, there's a spark of light, and there's this power in that spark of light of us just going, we've had enough, and we are going to shift this planet into love. Very gorgeous. So I'm going to go through all of these stories. Now, some of these stories I have brought up in other past video blogs, but I'm going to recap them because there was a real big importance, and it comes down to this dream that I had. Gosh, where do I even start with all of this? Because I have so many stories to share. But I will start with this dream that I had. It was incredible. It was where we are right here, right now. And in the dream, though, they showed me these tubes of light coming down, and it was just everything was disappearing that wasn't in line with this new frequency. And anyone who was in line wasn't affected. So this is why it was important, they said, for everyone to learn to control their minds, because we're coming out of a place now where our minds were in charge, and now we're bringing in the intuitive side and our connection to our soul. So we've got this balance, and we need the balance to be able to move through into these new frequencies with Gaia, with Earth herself, and everything else is a reflection of that. So the majority of us who start to say, you know what, I'm going to learn how to control my mind and not let it control me, the more we'll start to see the outside start to calm down, because everything is reflected out. And because that is the lesson, so that we can get to realize what we're actually doing within us. We can't step into these new frequencies coming from a warring mind. That was one of the big important things. So in this dream, these tubes of light were coming down, and I was on the radio getting my message out to the world, as I am doing now. And I was trying to tell everybody, stay still in the mind, stay still, just move through in the moment. And I got given this dream, would have been 2012, so quite a long time ago. Then I woke up from the dream, and I went online, and this is what they often do with me. They'll give me this insightful dream, and then the very next moment when I wake up, I had this post on my Facebook. So I clicked on the post, and it was of a remote viewing, and it was a remote viewer who remote viewed my dream. So she said it was like someone poking their finger through holes in the earth, and everything was disappearing, and it was the same dream as what I just dreamt. So I knew that there was something very valid in that. Okay, so big energy shifts, Matthew. It's really exciting though, because we are starting to wake up. The other thing is that one of the things that are helping me guide, when I ended up in Uluru with David Icke, which was from another dream. I dreamt that whole thing first, and then ended up being pulled out of the hat to go with David Icke, and ended up in the mountain connecting to her. And that's another story, but I could do story after story with my life. It's because I've been guided so much by spirit. So there's a lot of very crazy synchronistic stories here. But when that happened, when I ended up connected with my forehead to Uluru, it was like this conversation was happening. There was like this heartbeat between us. It was like a room. It was really bizarre. My hands started shaking, and all of the potential new earths came through me into the mountain. And then after that, she said that she would help me awaken many more. So I've got these sort of little indications on my path, and I'm honestly a sort of person, if you actually get to know my personality outside of all of these live streams, which I just started this year, I'm someone who would just prefer to sit in a humble cottage with my garden and not do this, but this is what I'm called to do. So I have a million stories, and I need to get them out. So what happened when I was in my 20s, this is when my mind was very clouded, just like everybody else's. I had relationships that weren't working. I had a daughter, beautiful daughter, and I was trying to fumble my way through life, had jobs where my bosses were really nasty to me. I was very submissive, just gave away my power constantly to try to people please everybody. And it was just not going the way that I really wanted to go. So I'm driving along with my fiance in the car going to Akaroa, and my mind was extremely clouded, and I just thought, yeah, we're driving to Akaroa, so what? It's just going to end up in a fight, or it's going to end up boring, or it's going to, all these mind games that I was playing within myself. And then the subtle voice entered my mind, and it just kept saying, how about you just try to think positively. Now, when I'm saying this to you, I know that many spiritual people say, oh, think positively, blah, blah, blah. Now, what they were trying to do is first steps towards learning how to control my mind. It's not like for the rest of my life I'm going to think positively or anything, but it was they were really teaching me how to control my mind was the big game. So they said to me, how about just think positively? And they kept saying it to me over and over, and it wouldn't leave my mind. This is probably the first time I'd ever really fully experienced channeling, but I didn't realize what it was at the time. Now, I got to the beach with my partner. He jumps out of the car because he's a photographer. He goes off to take some photos. I'm left in the car. My daughter jumped out. I could see her playing in the sand. And then they said, open the car door, because I just thought, I just don't even feel like getting out. It's cold, it's windy, it's, my mind's not in the right place. They said, open the car door and dig in the sand. Now, this is a random beach. If anyone knows New Zealand and on the way to Akaroa, it's just beaches. So there's nobody around. There's no car parks. We're not in a car park. It was just this random pullover on the beach. I wouldn't even say it was a car park. Anyway, they said, open the car door and dig. So I dug up this, and it would have been about so far into the ground. And here was this solid gold bracelet worth, now $800 now. It was a thick gold chain with a tattered heart on it, representing mine probably. And there was some other pieces of jewelry as well, silver earring and a green pendant. I think it was a greenstone pendant. Anyways, hey Christine, so good to see you. Anyway, so I had just dug up this gold bracelet from the direction of this channel message from my spirit guides, which I had never really spoken to before, and this sent me on a big journey. So I thought to myself, okay, if they can lead me to gold, maybe I should listen to this voice. So yeah, I started to practice the art of learning to control my mind. So what they did next is they were talking about meditation. Never heard about meditation before, but they taught me when I went to sleep. Now, when I went to sleep, my jaw used to be really tight, like, and I was just spinning all of those, stories in your head over and over and over again. This is the mind. This is what the mind does when it has too much control. The mind is supposed to hold memory, but it's only supposed to hold memory of those things that you want to retrieve later. It's not supposed to be able to create your next path. That is up to the imagination and your intuition to follow your soul's mission, not your mind. So this is what they were trying to do, is get me to control my mind. So they told me before I went to sleep just to imagine a beautiful place, and just have that as the same place that I would go to before I went to sleep. So every time I went to sleep, my mind would start chattering. I would think of this beautiful field, with a stream beside it, but I'd be lying in this grassy field, just lying there with flowers and just relaxing. I never even knew what meditation was, but obviously they're leading me to some form of meditation there. Then what else did they say? Then they said to me to accept a default within my brain. So you know how computers always have a default program? They wanted me to create a default program for my own mind so that I could start to control it again when it started getting chaotic and busy and clouded and, just like a busy computer that's just gone crazy. We can always go back to the default. So whenever I'd catch myself thinking negative thoughts, oh my God, my ex is going to do this, but no, stop it. Because do you know 100% that that's going to happen? No, you don't. Do you know 100% that some ruling faction's going to get their way? No, you don't. You don't know, because in this moment that does not exist. It doesn't exist right here in this moment. And this is the power of how powerful we are, because when we start to bring ourselves back to the moment, none of that exists. They can tell us whatever story they like. They can lead us down any freaking tunnel they want, but none of it exists in the moment. So what we're doing is we're bringing ourselves to the moment so that we can use our imagination for ourselves, not to gift it to somebody else's reality to do what they want. Very passionate about that, if you can't tell. So they said, think of something just easy to think of. It doesn't matter what it is. Hey, psychic angel. So think of something just very easy. I thought of a fluffy duck because it's cute and it's soft, and I put it in my mind really easily. I did later on, I changed it to a sunflower, because the more I got, the more they taught me about reality in my mind and how everything works. Somatic patterns started to be part of the codes and keys. And in the center of a sunflower is the somatic pattern of life on Earth. They showed me it was like Earth's pattern and the sun around the outside. Anyway, interesting. It does look like a solar eclipse, and we're going to do this mantra on the solar eclipse. Okay, so I put sunflower in my mind every single time I caught myself thinking something that I didn't like or I didn't want to bring into my reality, because every action that you do starts with your imagination. And if your mind is leading you from the past problems of, oh my God, this is going to happen again, which is all it can do, and project it into the future and make it even a bigger horrible story, your actions soon follow. So that's why it's so important to bring us back to controlling and stilling our mind. So then what they said is put that inside your mind whenever something negative that you don't like. I mean, sometimes we do need to go through emotions, and we do need to figure out stuff by going through these shadow emotions of ourselves. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with your emotions and feeling that pain sometimes, so that you can see where you're going. I'm going to read out a channel message after this so you can understand what I'm talking about. But this was just purely so that we can learn to take the reins of our mind again and not let it be overpowering us. Hey, Shantae. Yay. So then the next step that they told me is that once you learn to be able to shift your unwanted thoughts that you don't want to bring into reality, doesn't matter if someone says that's what's going to happen. Nothing is happening in this moment, so you can always bring it back to this default of, you can think of a car or whatever you like, a bicycle, riding a bike, your children, your pets, whatever's going to give you a good feeling. It has to be a very solid, good feeling, something. That's why they said something that's really easy for the default. Once you get used to that, then they said you can put in, you can have a story that you don't like. Say, for instance, you've split up with your partner and they're going to take you to court, and it's really scaring you. But it's not happening in this moment, right? So your mind will start bringing in all these things from the past. Oh my God, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Oh my God, you're going to be weak. You're going to do this. You're going to say the wrong thing. Now you've learned how to bring in this default image so that you can catch yourself. Now they said once you've learned how to do that, you can then learn how to say, I'm going to change the story. So I'm going to imagine, so this is where we use the power of our imagination, myself standing up strong. I'm not going to be taken down that road. I'm going to see myself creating the path that I want. I'm going to see myself turning every corner and meeting all the people that I need to meet to make my life a beautiful life. I'm going to see that fall away. I'm going to take command of this and say it's not even going to happen. We're not even going to go to court. We don't even need to go to court. And then what happens is, because you've taken command of your reality through your mind, the energy of you shifts into not being the victim of your reality anymore, and you end up being responsible for it, but you end up also having this power, and it sends that out to the world. You also feel empowered, so you've taken command, and light bulb moments go off in your head of, I know how to get myself out of it. I only need to. I did this. I had my ex who was going to take me to court. He was going to drive me, make me out to be insane, and all sorts of stuff happening. It was horrible. It was, pretty bad. And I just took command. I just went, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be victim to this. And an elder who I met in Ohio had sent me a letter and said, stop being the victim, exclamation marks ×3, and this is what humanity's falling into. Do we want to be the victim of our reality? Do we want to keep on having other people telling us, dictating to us where we're going to go, when we are the ones that have the imagination? They don't. They're using your imagination to create the story they want. They're using you. So we now take the power back. Individually, we take it back and we say, we're not going to do this anymore. We're going to imagine a way better scenario. So, yeah, you can do that. You can shift your story. I had this aha moment this night that I had just got given the court that I was an insane person from him, and just horrible stuff that wasn't true at all. And I went, I'm going to command this to be over. That night I had a light bulb moment in my head, and it went, and because I had taken my power back, I also had the power to stop being a victim, to ring him up, where I would never have done that pre-commanding it to all be over, because I was feeling such a victim to life and disempowered and anxiety in my heart. And I knew all I had to do is ring him up and say specific things to him, and I did. And it was over. The courts, everything, it was over. So you have way more power. I'd also done it with speeding fines that I got off the same camera, and I swear I wasn't speeding, but okay, I was speeding, and it just kept clicking me out. So I was down to only 1 point left, and I had to take my daughters to school, and it was really scary for me, being by myself. And so what I did was do the same thing. I command this to be over. And it was really weird. I rang up the transport department 3 months later, because I hadn't heard from them. I did pay the fine, but I hadn't heard from them for some other thing that I got. And they said that I had all my points back. I only had 2 points off. And I was like, really, but? And I'm like, don't say but, just accept it, because you took command of your reality. And somehow or other, what happens is it shifts people to open their heart to changing things. And maybe somebody stopped me from getting the speeding fines. I don't know. I have no idea how it all changed, but it doesn't matter. I changed my reality. So we have the ability to change our reality. And what is happening now is we're being told to actually do this, to take control of our minds and no longer be the victim to the mind games that we've been playing with ourselves, to bring ourselves back into the moment, to use our imagination for the blessings that it is, to imagine a beautiful scenario, to stop allowing somebody else to control who we are and where we're going. We don't need to do that anymore. And this is kind of what they're afraid of, because if we learn to do this, to take back the responsibility of our mind again, we can create a reality where we don't need any sort of leading, fractions above us, because everybody is taking responsibility for their own self and guiding themselves towards the happiness. Also, it will clear your mind enough to be able to connect to your soul, to your intuition, and all these gifts start pouring through. You'll start getting more messages like I did. So when I started doing this and clearing my mind and finding myself and learning to still my mind too, if you can learn from that point, from changing the story to just sitting in stillness, you can create any story you like, and you will step into that story and you can shift your reality. You have way more power than what they've taught you. So this was a lot of the information that they told me. Changing stories. Yeah, I'm just reading some of the things that I was also brought to. So I really, after that, on my journey, I got this indication to move to Australia. They said I needed to move to Australia, and I'd never done that. They showed me a dream of my daughter who was stuck in Christchurch in New Zealand through court orders, that she will end up living with me again. And I saw the school that she would go through too. And I really, really, really trusted this. I paid for every holiday for her to be with me for the following year. And by that next year, she was living with me, and she ended up going to I saw the high school that was in my dream, and she ended up going to that high school. It was really cool. So these are the gifts that we're given so that we can have this strength. It was really interesting too, because when I started to do this, it was like there was a power within me. My emotions weren't in control of everything anymore, and I had clarity of mind. I started becoming more creative with what I wanted to do. I started doing a lot more artwork and writing poetry, lighting candles outside and sitting under the stars and doing things that I wanted with a clear mind. It makes your life so much more blissful, so much better. It's the most peaceful, gorgeous feeling you can have. It's, I suppose, like being high forever, but not in a negative way where you feel yucky or anything, but just that beautiful feeling of bliss all the time. Now, I did come to Australia and I did lose it all. It was like they gifted me that few years to show me the path, and then they took the trainer wheels off, so to speak. It's like they were guiding me. And then they took the trainer wheels off. So when I come to Australia, I was living with my sister, who the most beautiful sister ever, but she does have issues with manic depressiveness, which is I think she's the most bravest person in the world, because to be in this world with the normal mind is hard enough, with let alone having chemicals racing in, too much serotonin and none at all. It's so hard to be able to handle, and a lot of that stems from even what happened with hers, because my mum at the time didn't want to be pregnant. She fell pregnant accidentally. She didn't want to go that way, because she is my mum's gorgeous too, but she wanted to be a nurse. So we've got to be careful when we're pregnant with our newborn that we love them, that we give them all that nurturing energy, that this world isn't something to be fearful of, that they can help us and we can help them create something beautiful. And all we really want to do, all humanity, all we want to do is to be nurturers to our young ones and be able to bring them into a peaceful reality. Done is the wars, done. We don't need them anymore. And the more we clear within our minds individually, the more our reality starts to shine without those problems and those issues. So it's all about at the moment finding balance, within ourselves. Yeah. That's really interesting, really important. Hey, Jennifer, exactly perfect timing for me in your talk today. Thank you. Yay. Yeah, it is a natural high. And okay, now I do have a channel message, and this will really wrap things up because I just realized I don't actually have it in front of me. So I'll open that up for us. This will really wrap things up. So this is part of what I know my higher self as well. December the 1st, I pulled this one out of my hat. Okay, coming into the moment and truly living your authentic self has nothing to do with your controlling your emotions so they don't ever surface, but rather how quickly are you able to move yourself out of your emotions that don't feel good for you. In other words, you may get angry at something as you need that fire in that moment to shift your reality or to protect yourself or make a stand for yourself. But as soon as that moment is over, have you found the ability to return back to your authentic self, living in the moment, that of the love for yourself again, without getting yourself all caught up in those issues of the mind holding onto the problem? You see, most of our problems are caused by the mind hanging on to emotion and replaying it over and over until it manifests around again and again. The guilt literally creates a bigger issue than when the problem first arrived. And then your actions create it all over again. Because when we haven't accepted that emotion within us as part of us, we end up denying it. But when you know you have the ability to allow an emotion to surface and you can return to your authentic self, you now have complete control over your reality. It's like ice skating. You can only skate as fast as you can stop. That's one of the big things they kept showing me, Spirit keeps showing me on my journey. Yeah, do you know how to stop your mind? Because then you can allow and explore your emotions even more, because you can always rein them in when you have control over them. Most people think it's in controlling the emotions so they never surface, but this can fester inside of you as a repressed emotion brings on regret that can fester into hatred for another. No, the contradictory thing is, it is only when you can allow an emotion to surface and you use it to shift your reality, to protect or even to stand up for yourself, but knowing that you still have the reins of that emotion to rein it in whenever you need, frees yourself of most emotions as they feel. Then your emotions in themselves, that part of you feels worthy of being part of you, because it's you as well. And you're not denying them makes that part of you accepted. So the funny thing is, they don't even come up as often because you have mastered them, and that part of you is happy. It has a place to set boundaries and strengthen and respect you. It's where you've denied supporting yourself. Then the mind no longer has use to play games with your emotions anymore, and your ability to stand up for yourself means you respect yourself as others learn your boundaries. And when another person knows where they stand with you, they feel free to be themselves around you, because they're not scared that you're going to be overreactive or reactive to them. This also grants you stronger abilities to stay focused and expand your creativity too. And the story that they wanted me to bring up is being, hi Franklin, being the red queen and the white queen. So here I am, a mum of very, very young, beautiful girls, and on my own. And I found myself, trying to get angry. I was getting angry over little things. And I got to the point where I actually was trying to, come on, girls, we're going to go to school, rah, 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 get them to the school. And I ended up at school an hour early one day, and I just realized, oh my God, this has got out of hand. I've got out of hand. I've lost myself so much that I've got out of hand. And my mind, okay, how am I going to get my mind back? And I was led to a YouTube, and it was of this comedian, and he was talking about, it was a counselor. He was pretending to be a counselor person. And this lady comes in with an issue. And this is way, 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 way back. So this is like, he said, okay, it costs you $5. Oh my God, how far back is that? But tell me all of your problems. You're not going to get any change out of $5. So go for it. And she's like, I feel like I'm in a coffin and I can't get out. I can't go in lifts. I can't go in small places. Oh, okay, so you're claustrophobic. Okay, so she says, how are you going to help me? And he goes, stop it. And she's like, stop it? How does that even help me? And he goes, stop it, or I'll put you in a coffin. Like, really, just stop it. And he said, it's your mind. You can stop it if you want. You've just got to say to yourself, I'm not going to do this anymore, to myself. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be angry all the time with my children for not being ready, when I decide when they should be ready, da, da, da. And then what happened is they showed me myself as red queen and the white queen. So it was kind of like I separated myself as the angry queen and the white queen. And my children used to call me either the white queen or the red queen after that. But what happened was the more power I gave to the red queen to come out when she needed to come out, and I talked to her like a person, okay, you can come out. You have a responsibility to be the fire within me, to shift my reality, to not put up with people walking all over me. You have that ability to do that, but only when necessary, not in every single moment. And so it was taking control of my emotions again, because I had learned to control my mind. I could start to control my emotions. And she hardly ever comes out anymore, but she's still there if I need her. If somebody is, she has so much power. She can shift so much more, and way more than before. So I have, my eyes just got something in them. So yeah, this is what we can do. We can also take control of our emotions as well. So yeah, that was a big Christmas tree, because I love Christmas, and I usually put Christmas trees up way earlier, and I leave them up for way longer, because I believe that our whole life is supposed to be like Christmas, where we're all happy. Okay, so I think that's all my messages for today. Yay, from Yorkshire, UK, Dot. That's so cool. So happy to see you here. You know what I realized is usually I do very short messages and I don't get many people on the chat bar, but I've noticed that if I'm on for a bit longer, that I get more people in the chat bar. I'm learning, Yeah. Beautiful tree, eh? I love my tree. Actually, my daughter and I put that up last night, and we put up some music and we were dancing while we were putting it up. It was the most beautiful thing. And because I'm living in the moment more, it's these moments that are beautiful. You just really, you treasure them. You just treasure every single moment now. If I go shopping, I'm going shopping for my daughter who's having a child. She's 32 now, and she's pregnant. So I'm shopping for little baby clothes at the moment. And I'm like, oh my God, my heart. And these moments are beautiful. They're so precious. And when we're learned to clear our minds and realize how much power we have, and realize that we can create our own reality, and we're not gifting it away to somebody else to dictate. Don't watch. If you don't want to follow something, don't watch it anymore. Don't go there anymore. Start to sit back and go, what do I want? What do I want to create in my life? Hey, Sumac. Hey, Saj. This is so good that so many people are here. I love that. That's really cool. So, guys, 4th of December, noon AEST time, which is Brisbane, Australia time, which is my time. Noon on the 4th is the mantra. I have created a 17-minute beautiful video, and we're all going to collectively come together on Zoom. So I want to see as many faces, because there's going to be a bit of a chat pre all of that, and going to talk about what kind of beautiful, juicy stuff we're going to send out to the world to help awaken everyone else into the love and the bliss and all of that. And then we're going to go into this beautiful mantra. I'm going to get you to record it, your voice on your phone or whatever recording device you have. And then I'll give you the link to the email. And if I want as many voices as possible. Don't worry if you sound crap, because you're going to be with a whole heap of other voices, because I'm going to put it all together properly using my iMovie, and then we will premiere that on a YouTube. There's a few YouTube channels, and get it out to the world. So I'd love you guys to be the instigators with me to send peace and love out to the world. I think that would be fun. Yay. Okay, so I suppose I better sign off. I see if they've got any more messages. No, I can't feel into anything at the moment that they're trying to bring through. Yeah. So I'll say goodbye. Don't forget my dice up for sale as well. I do have a couple of other things and a few more months. And love you guys heaps. You guys are beautiful. Thank you. Keep shining. Bye.